Hello everybody! In today's video I'm going to show you how I build automation which generates PDF files with custom quotations to your customers in no time. Everything is based on Google Stack, so these are all free tools. So without any further ado, let's get started. Okay, so here is the whole automation which we are going to discuss just now. Let's enter it. And okay, everything starts with Google Form. I'm going to show it to you. So that's the Google Form we are using to trigger this automation. Basically, the customer that this automation was made for is having an entire fleet of cars, and they are doing food delivery for restaurants, and they've got two kinds of services. One is on demand and the other one is custom. So basically we've got two separate kinds of quotations, two separate kinds of presentations that need to be used for these automations. That's why we have this router that is splitting into two paths. So in order to better understand it, I'm going to show you the folder in which all the necessary files are gathered. So we have two presentations, one for each of the services. They've got two services, so there are two presentations. We've got data of the salesmen. I'm going to explain that later on. We're gonna come back to this file, and obviously this form. So in this form we are choosing options, and let's say, for example, they are choosing courier on demand, then they are choosing region in which they are working, from which the customer is, because they have different prices, different delivery zone for particular region, so that has to be handled with the automation as well. So let's say they choose this one. For the next field they have customer name. I'm gonna input test for the sake of this tutorial. This is going to replace appropriate dynamic tag with the customer name. Then we have customer email. I'm gonna input .com, So this is the email of the customer to which this email is going to be addressed. Then we have the salesman. This company has two salesmen, so depending on who is actually selling this service, we can choose the salesman, and then we can decide whether the final PDF has to consist a price list or no. This is like a custom tweak that the customer required, and the answer can be yes or no. And they are submitting this form, and this triggers the entire automation. Based on our input, there was option courier on demand. So we've got a router, it chooses one path or another. We are going through the path of courier on demand, and here you can see it. There is a filter. It checks whether there was an answer stating that it is a courier on demand. If that statement is true, then the automation follows this path. In the first module, in this path, we've got module of Google Slides. What it does is basically creates a copy of this template presentation. So you can see it over here. It contains all the data because it is a template. It has tables with the price list of both regions, and has also delivery zones of both regions. And at the end we've got dynamic tag, which then needs to be replaced with appropriate salesman data. We have it over here. So it creates, at first step, it creates a copy of this presentation, of this template presentation. Next up, it inputs a customer name. As you can see here, we've got API call, which takes the presentation ID. We send a JSON file, which this is the structure of this JSON file. And as you can see here, we have our dynamic tag, which is on the very first slide. As you can see, it's here. And this call basically changes the name. You see replace text with the input from the form. So that's what the first step does. Then second, we've got Google Slides. module, and this module is necessary actually to fetch more details from the presentations, the freshly made details, because with this module we don't have enough data to work it later on. As you can see, the router spreads onto many routes, many possible routes. That's why we need more details. And then we've got this module which searches Google Sheets. That's the file I showed you here. This file, that's the structure of this file, and it contains data, details of particular salesman, yeah? First name, last name, phone number, and email address. Next up, we've got iterator. So iterator is necessary here because it has to iterate through every single input from the form. And we've got router that has many paths, and each path has a filter. And starting off with these API calls up here. So first we've got pretty similar, like in the previous API call, we take the presentation ID, yeah, and we make this API call, post type, and we send a JSON file which replaces actually this dynamic tag, which is at the very end of this presentation. You see it here, yeah. And this automation is basically replacing it with the data from Google Sheets, which is contained here. It works just the same with Bartek. It depends on which salesman was chosen in the form. And to separate these two paths, we've got filter that checks whether it's Mateusz or Bartek. Next up, we've got these four separate modules, which are basically removing unnecessary slides. Select the method, delete a slide, and this slide ID we need to input here, and that's the structure that we need to put. Here between the bracket we are putting the ordinal number of this slide. In this case it's slide number 10. Yeah, and thanks to those 4 bubbles automation, it removes price list for the particular city and also the delivery zone, and it works the same just for those slides with price table. And you can see it here that we also got a question for, and that's about the PDF has to include the price list. If the answer is no, it removes the both of the slides with the price list. And at the end we've got this module which basically it generates PDF file which is saved in our Google Drive. Yeah. And then at the end we have a router, and depending on which salesman was chosen, salesman is going to have a draft email in their email account. Yeah, and as you can see it here, it takes from the form the email or customer email is taken and input here. Next up we've got subject. Subject consists of 2 elements. First one is the service, and then we've got customer name, and we've got the content of the email, which is served here in HTML. And as you can see here, we've got attachments, and we take this Google Drive file, which was just previously generated. And to be honest with you, it works pretty much the same with the service, different service, the courier, custom courier. It removes the unwanted slides, and then it sends draft with a PDF file attached to it onto a particular Gmail account. At this stage, there is nothing left but to test whether this automation works or not. So let's go into this form, and we're going to choose Courier on Demand. Let's choose Poznań, put test, and then next up, test@test.com. The salesman will be Bartek, and we want to include the PDF. We want to include the price list in the PDF file. Okay, we're gonna submit this and just let's run it once. Let's go. It checks. Yeah, it found that we want a courier on demand, so it creates a copy. It replaces the tag with the name. It checks there was Bartek here, so it puts his data, it removes appropriate slides, and now the PDF is being generated, and at the end it should trigger Bartek exactly. And right now we are going to check whether Bartek has this email or no. I just have to swap computers because I do not have access to this account, but as you can see, the draft is ready here, as well as the PDF file is attached. We're gonna check it out, yeah, just by clicking up here. And yeah, as you can see, the name was replaced, and if we scroll all the way to the bottom, you can see that the data also was replaced. Okay guys, so that was basically it, and if you wish to see more videos like that, more tutorials like that, just let me know in the comments what you are looking for, what are your struggles. Also in the video description you're going to find the entire blueprint of this automation, so you can implement it into your own workflows and just take advantage of this great automation. Thank you very much for your attention, and see you in the next one.